Do you dominate or do you plateau? Whichever one, here is why. Every year, thousands of equally talented people enter the same competitive fields. A decade later, a small fraction dominate while most plateau. The difference was never IQ, work ethic, or luck. It was something psychologists call metacognition, and almost nobody talks about it correctly. Metacognition is thinking about your own thinking. It is the internal observer that watches your mental processes in real time, catching errors before they compound, adjusting strategies mid-task, and knowing exactly when you do not understand something. It is not intelligence, it is awareness of intelligence. Psychologist John Flavel first named the concept in 1976, describing it as knowledge about your own cognitive processes. Since then, research has shown that metacognitive skill predicts performance more reliably than raw cognitive ability in fields from medicine to military strategy to entrepreneurship. Most people confuse metacognition with self-reflection. Reflection happens after an event. Metacognition happens during it. A surgeon adjusting technique mid-operation. A trader revising a thesis while the market moves. A debater reshaping an argument as the opponent speaks. All of it is live mental calibration. There are two core components. Metacognitive knowledge means understanding how you learn, where your blind spots are, and which strategies work for you. Metacognitive regulation means planning before a task, monitoring during it, and evaluating after. Together they form a feedback loop most people never build. The most damaging misconception is believing smart people naturally think well. Many highly intelligent individuals perform poorly because they cannot see their own reasoning errors. They lack the metacognitive radar that would catch flawed assumptions before those assumptions cost them everything. Studies at the University of Lisbon found that students with high metacognitive awareness outperformed peers with higher test scores, but lower awareness. The gap widened over time. Early advantage meant nothing without the ability to self-correct, adapt study methods, and recognize when understanding was shallow. Elite performers do not simply execute, they run a parallel mental process questioning every decision. Am I using the right strategy here? What am I missing? Does this feel uncertain and why? Would a different angle reveal something new? This constant internal dialogue separates good from world class. The encouraging finding is that metacognition is trainable. Journaling decisions, practicing self-explanation, and deliberately reviewing mistakes all strengthen it. You are not born with a fixed capacity for self-awareness. You build it through intentional practice, just like any other skill that separates the exceptional from the average. Consider a professional basketball player who misses a crucial free throw. Instead of simply practicing more shots, she reviews game footage, analyzes her breathing patterns under pressure, and adjusts her pre-shot routine. This deliberate self-monitoring transforms raw skill into consistent clutch performance. In emergency medicine, experienced surgeons don't just rely on technical skill. They mentally rehearse procedures beforehand, anticipate complications, and pause mid-operation to assess their decision-making. This metacognitive habit reduces errors when seconds count and stakes are highest. Elite chess grandmasters don't calculate more moves than amateurs. They recognize patterns faster because they've trained themselves to identify when their intuition might be wrong. They develop internal alarms that signal uncertainty, prompting deeper analysis at critical moments. Successful entrepreneurs often credit their metacognitive awareness for avoiding costly mistakes. They regularly question their assumptions, seek contradictory feedback, and acknowledge when market conditions have shifted. This intellectual humility prevents the overconfidence that destroys many promising ventures. Research from Stanford University demonstrates that students who practice metacognitive strategies outperform peers with higher IQs. They plan their study approaches, monitor comprehension during learning, and adjust methods when stuck. The strategy matters more than raw processing speed. Professional musicians at peak performance don't just practice longer. They record sessions, listen critically, and identify specific technical weaknesses. They develop awareness of their mental state before performances, learning to channel nervous energy rather than suppress it. NASA astronaut training emphasizes metacognitive skills extensively. Crews practice recognizing their own cognitive biases during simulations, learning when stress impairs judgment. This preparation proved crucial during Apollo 13, when calm self-assessment enabled creative problem-solving. Evidence from cognitive neuroscience reveals that metacognition activates the prefrontal cortex differently in experts. Brain imaging shows experienced professionals engage in more efficient monitoring, allocating mental resources strategically rather than simply working harder on every task equally. The practical implication is clear. Anyone can develop metacognitive skills through deliberate practice. Start by reflecting on decisions after important events, questioning your reasoning process, and seeking feedback about your thinking patterns. This transforms experience into genuine expertise. Neuroscience research reveals that consistent metacognitive practice physically reshapes the brain over months and years. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for self-awareness and strategic thinking, develops denser neural connections in people who regularly reflect on their own thinking patterns. These structural changes compound gradually, making skilled self-monitoring feel increasingly natural and automatic with sustained effort. A longitudinal study tracking professionals over 5 years found that those who practiced structured self-reflection improved decision-making accuracy by 34% compared to control groups. However, the researchers noted that benefits didn't appear overnight. Most participants reported meaningful shifts only after 8 to 12 weeks of consistent daily practice, emphasizing patience. Realistic expectations matter enormously. Metacognition isn't a magic switch that instantly transforms performance. There will be setbacks, moments of frustration, and days when old habits resurface. The key insight from research is that these lapses are normal and don't erase progress. Each return to reflective practice strengthens the habit further. One effective approach involves scheduling brief reflection sessions at consistent times each day. Morning journaling about anticipated challenges, or evening reviews of what went well and what didn't, creates reliable triggers. These small rituals anchor metacognitive habits into daily routines, making them sustainable rather than overwhelming additions to already busy schedules. External accountability accelerates consistency. Sharing reflection goals with a trusted colleague, mentor, or coach creates gentle social pressure that sustains motivation during difficult periods. Research shows that people who discuss their metacognitive insights with others retain and apply those insights significantly longer than those who keep reflections entirely private. Technology can support consistency without replacing genuine reflection. Simple apps that prompt daily questions, track mood patterns, or log decision outcomes provide useful scaffolding. The goal isn't dependency on tools, but using them as bridges until internal habits become self-sustaining. Eventually, the prompts become unnecessary. Applying metacognition consistently means starting small and scaling gradually. Begin with one domain, perhaps work decisions or learning strategies, before expanding to relationships, health choices, or creative projects. Trying to overhaul every area simultaneously leads to burnout. Focused practice in a single context builds transferable skills that naturally extend outward. The most successful long-term practitioners treat metacognition as a lifestyle rather than a temporary technique. They integrate questioning and reflection into how they approach meetings, conversations, and even leisure activities. This pervasive mindset shift, developed over years rather than weeks, is what separates truly exceptional performers from those who merely dabble. The evidence is clear. Metacognitive skills compound over time into remarkable advantages. Those who commit to this practice don't just perform better temporarily, they build a fundamentally different relationship with their own minds, one characterized by curiosity, adaptability, and continuous growth. That transformation is available to anyone willing to begin. So let's bring it home. The single strongest takeaway is this: the highest performers don't just think better, they think about their thinking better. That extra layer of awareness is what separates consistent excellence from raw talent that eventually plateaus. If you are here means you find this useful. Don't forget to follow Psychology with Sergio Popovicai. Raw ability got you in the room, but metacognition is what keeps you growing inside it. Talent without self-awareness hits a ceiling. Self-awareness without talent multiplies whatever ability you already have. The second takeaway: your biggest blind spots lie exactly where your confidence is highest. The things you think you've mastered are precisely where your errors hide. Metacognition shines a light into those overconfident corners. And the third, metacognition isn't some mystical gift. It's a trainable skill. Like any muscle, it strengthens with deliberate practice. The science is clear that anyone can build it with the right habits. So here's where you start. Each evening, spend 3 minutes asking yourself one question. Where did my thinking serve me today, and where did it fail me? Write one sentence. That's it. Consistency beats intensity. Second, practice. Before any important decision, pause and name your reasoning out loud. Saying why you think something forces your brain to audit itself in real time. It's the simplest metacognitive hack that exists. Third, seek feedback not as comfort, but as data. Most people ask for feedback hoping to hear they're right. Metacognitive people ask hoping to discover where they're wrong. Flip that instinct. You don't need more talent. You don't need to work longer hours. You need a better relationship with your own mind. That's the quiet advantage every exceptional performer shares, and it's available to you starting now. The landscape of your potential isn't fixed. It expands every time you pause, reflect, and choose to see your own thinking clearly. That pause is where growth lives. Make it yours, and the results will follow.